Is proud to host the 15th OIC Summit on the 4th and 5th May 2024, the second largest gathering of world leaders, kings, presidents, rulers, prime ministers, along with delegates from 57 member countries of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation will gather in our beloved nation for this historic event. The theme of the summit is enhancing unity and solidarity through dialogue for sustainable development. It's a platform to foster cooperation, promote peace and drive sustainable development across the Ummah and the world at large. We call on all Gambians to unite and support the government as it strives to host a memorable and successful event. Let's showcase our hospitality, culture and the beauty of the Gambia to the world. Join us in making history. Let's stand together, united as one, to ensure the 15th OIC Summit in the Gambia is an event to remember. Together, we can make a difference.
Hello viewers, welcome to another interesting episode of the Fatu Network. You're watching us live in Bijilo, and I am your host Dauda Balde. In this episode today, our guests in the studio are members of a task force which is established on drug and substance abuse in the Gambia. And with me in the studio I have Pa Bojang from the law enforcement agent and Bala Jata, who is also from the EDC at the Ministry of Health. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have you here at the Fatu Network. And first I will start with Pa. Quickly introduce yourself to our audience out there.
Thank you, Mr. Balde. My name is Commissioner Pa Bojang from the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Head of Scientific and Co-Chairman of the Task Force.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you here. We use this opportunity to wish you Ramadan Mubarak. Maybe witness many more Ramadans to come, because I know the Jolas are so scared that we reach this stage of the Ramadan now. Okay, Mr. Bala, welcome to the Fatu Network. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much, Dauda. My name is Bala Jata. I work with the Epidemiology and Disease Control Unit as an epidemiologist and a disease control officer.
It's a pleasure to have you people here. I know it's going to be a very interesting episode here to talk about these issues, having two gentlemen who are well equipped with the information and the technicality on drug and substance abuse, because as Pa rightly said, Commissioner Pa is from the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Commissioner, we understand that you set a task force which is primarily focused on combating drug and substance abuse. Tell us, why do you come up with this idea to combat drug and substance abuse?
Thanks for that question. The task force is set up to look for a particular product. Actually, we open it broadly because there is some investigation going on. The task force was established after the independence. There was a press briefing at the Ministry of Interior, which was summoned by, I think, from Chief of Staff through the Ministry of Interior and Health. And after the briefing, they deemed it necessary to set up a task force as a technical working group to work on mechanism to make a finding and cause to bring this problem to conclusions. When that very day the task force was established, we first look at relevant stakeholders to guide us through. Because yes, Kush is a drug, but now its implication is more than drug-related matters. It has medical implications which trigger all this problem, because there was information that there was a patient brought to, I think, at the hospital, government health facilities, and announced death due to the cause of consuming Kush. When we received that information, it became a very tragic information to the agency and any other institutions. And that's the reason why we say, let's set up a task force to look into it. It is the Kush that caused the death, or the added substances added to the Kush, which is which. Now it was a broad task force. We have the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health, a specific units are considered to be part of the task force. That is EDC, because they are the investigative team of the Ministry of Health. We have the NCD. These are non-communicated disease, because Kush became a non-communicated disease. By going by diagnosis, we have the mental health, then we have their education unit. Probably, I don't know, he will guide me through for those things. Then we say we also need the youth because it's affecting the adolescents. We brought up the National Youth Council, Red Cross, the stakeholders. We say that it cannot be government's property. We have to bring the CSOs. That's why we brought up Red Gambia and Upper Gambia. This is how it was constituted. After the constitution and first meeting, we look at necessary tools to start our investigation. We say before anything, let's have what we call a case definition. When you hear case definition, to say a particular signs and symptoms will be used as a tool to recognize this particular case. We look at, and we all agree in one case definition. When we develop that case definition, we say still now, how are we going to collect data? We develop what we call line list. The line list captures all details we need from that particular patient. We say still now, if we have the detailed data, how are we going to work with it? We say there must be survey. You cannot do your survey without having your TOR. You have to do your terms of references. You have to develop a consent note. The concept will guide you what you want. We also have to engage the authorities to seek for their blessing before we start the operations. Now I think we did all those things. Last week, throughout this week, we are engaging the authorities from the defense and from the interior. We engage the Director General Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the Director General Immigration, Inspector General of Police, and as head of the security at the Parliament, CDI. By next week, we should continue to meet the Minister of Interior, Minister of Health, and on the 15th, operation will commence. Thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Bala, you from the Ministry of Health on the Epidemiology and Disease Control Unit, and a key component which is dealing with health matters, and you investigate issues surrounding this thing. First, tell us, why are you involved in this task force?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dauda. Like Parali mentioned, the Epidemiology and Disease Control Unit is the unit mandated to investigate and respond to any health event or emergency in the country. So, and as such, when we received information, we try to investigate to know the root cause, because that's our mandate. As epidemiologists, you are bound to investigate to know the root cause of a problem. So this is why we were involved, because we are dealing directly with the health facilities that are seeing these cases. So we receive data from them, and then when we receive the data, we analyze it. Like Pa said, we usually develop a line list, and this line list, what it entails is, it gives you all the variables that you require to help you come to the root of a problem, giving you all the signs and symptoms, all the indicators that will determine whether this is an urgent issue that needs to be tackled or not. So when we reviewed this line list, we analyzed the data, plot our graphs and all those things, we realized that this is not only a health problem. In fact, the chunk of the problem is a security-related issue. That's why we liaised with the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and we started working together before even the establishment of the task force. So the task force was established after the press briefing that was held at the Ministry of Interior. It was a joint press briefing between the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Interior that was chaired by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior. And then since then, we were trying to see, like Pa said, bring all other stakeholders and come up with different tools that will enable us to get to the root of the cause, because that's what we do as epidemiologists. We want to get to the root of the cause. So like Pa said, Kush might be a drug problem, but it has health-related consequences. So, and those health-related consequences are affecting the young people of this country. That's why we brought all the stakeholders, like the youth, National Youth Council, the Red Cross, the other stakeholders from the civil society, the security agencies, and the community at large. So that's why we are also going out to the community to do, based on our activities, we will do a community outreach, talk to the people, let them understand the problems and the like. And that's our mandate. When we investigate, we also communicate back to the people to know what problems are coming from their communities. That's how we are involved as epidemiology and disease control. Yes.
Interesting. Coming back to Commissioner Bojang, the Drug Law Enforcement Agency has made significant gains when it comes to drug in this country over the years. And it is of no secret that we have a lot of different types of drugs that are available in this country, because reports are coming every day. The Drug Law Enforcement Agency is confiscating drugs. Why is Kush so special? Because I've seen in other countries like Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea, and now even Ghana, they're also making efforts to ensure that this particular drug is eliminated in their communities. Why is it so special in the Gambia as well?
Yeah, thank you for that question. You know, drug we have only two types. Either it became natural drug or synthetic drug. If it is not natural, it's not synthetic, you have a problem. You can see it's a combination of two. Kush itself is a cannabis, is natural drug. People to understand. Kush is cannabis. But the other substances are known, we call it new psychotropical substances. It's unknown to us as of now. They cocktail so many types of chemicals added to it, which is not, it doesn't match with our organs, human organs. Because when you look at our case definitions, it's different with other countries' case definition. That will tell you that the Kush in circulating within the region are different kind of Kush. And it became an alarming issue. In any incident you involve in, there is a level of approaches. The expert will talk about it, but I will just try to give a peripheral information. If an incident happens, you suspect that there is something going on. You are on a watching list. Of your sudden, it triggers more than even monitoring. You are now seeing it. It needs rapid response. It became an alarming issue because drugs have been here, but very rare somebody to say alleged cause of death. Cannabis was here. The benzodiazepines were here. The barbiturates are here. The opioids are here. The death, if it happens, it may be overdose in isolation. But this one, a death reported to the hospital, brought in death. And that is the same problem happening within the sub-region. That warrant was the government to take this bold step to say that let's swap these things and see how best to make a stop to it. Up till today, I think on the 9th today, up till now we don't know the entire composition of Kush as far as Gambia is concerned.
I was equally making research,
yes,
but it is unknown that the number of substances that are mixed in this thing. At first, I even wonder how those Kush look like. But of recent, people alleged consumers of this substance have been labeled on social media as laughing stocks, because you see people standing at one spot making unusual gestures or unusual movements. That was it. I was in Senegambia. I saw a lady who was just going around knocking cars. People allege that she consumed Kush, and it's a substance that is really the most famous right now as far as drug abuse is concerned. Bala, coming to you as epidemiologist and disease control, how do you see Kush consumption in this country, and what are the most urgent steps as far as health is concerned that you people want to take and implement us in this task force?
Good, thank you very much. Kush is a public health concern because we've seen on social media those that have allegedly taken Kush, the signs and symptoms they present, some with those bulging tongues and those things. Some people have to hold their tongue for them to be able to breathe. The reason is the chemical cocktail in that substance that they suspectedly has taken affects their nervous system or circulatory system, and with that it makes their tongue bulgy, and the tongue will fall back and block the airways. And once the tongue falls back and blocks the airways, that individual will not have air to breathe. And obviously, if that individual is not supported with at the quickest possible time, that individual will die. So this is why we said it's a public health problem. And that's one of the reasons why we want to do a risk survey, because we want to go to the community to know what is forcing these people to go into taking this. We want to know the socioeconomic factors that cause people to go into drug and substance abuse. We want to look at the peer pressure. Is it peer influence that is moving me to go into drug abuse? Or is it the community structures that push these young people into going into that? Because looking at the data we have, it's only, I can say, it's only one person that is above the youthful age, that has 60, that is at the age of 60 or above. But the rest are from 14 years to 25 to 30 years. So that's the cream of the society.
So this data is from people who are arrested?
No, this is the data we have from those that have been to the health facilities. Those that have suspectedly taken the drugs and reported to the health facilities. And this is continuous. The data we're receiving from our facilities, especially the major hospitals like Kanifing and Banjul, is on the increase. It's just that we are in Ramadan and the trend has reduced. But we are pretty sure that once Ramadan is over, it's going to go back to where we are, because we are talking about having 3, 4, 5 cases on a daily basis at the hospitals.
That's huge.
Yeah, so that's why we want to do a survey, because we want to get to the root of the problem. Why? Because if you want to stop the problem, you must get to the root cause. That's why we do this survey. Once we get to do this survey, we'll be able to know what is happening and why. Then we'll be able to come up with programs and policies, or communicate to policy people like our directors and the ministers, to come up with policy documents that will avert these issues. Yes.
Interesting. Commissioner Jata, you working with the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. So you have confiscated a lot of type of drugs over the years, and you've seen them physically.
Yeah.
And these particular drugs stand out. It's not only in the Gambia. Within the sub-region, Kush is the most famous drug right now, which people are consuming. Because I was making a research 2 days ago about this. The age bracket, some people are arguing that from 14, people are consuming this drug. And it has caused deaths in other countries as well. As an agency, what do you consider the most urgent thing as far as combating this particular drug is concerned?
The agency is on its foot every day. If you look at our seizure statistics, it have increased even because we have a special task force assigned, going on rounds day in, day out. They are making significant arrests. And actually, when you look at the statistics, it's going down within this Ramadan, throughout the Ramadan, because we are taking it very hard with them. We have our partners like the police, immigration. They are also they are fit to support the delict on this crusade, because drug is not one man's soul. We all say, as a nation alone cannot even take care of this drug. If you look at the ratio of security to the population, if we don't have the support of the civil sector, the community, we'll have problem. This outreach helps us a lot, because when you look Kush, for somebody who doesn't understand Kush, it's difficult for him to report to us. Because when you add those chemicals on it, he can be behind here smoking, you don't understand it, because the scent, you don't take any sense. That will at least give you a suspicion of why to report it. You can see how intelligent they are. Because first what they did was they eliminated the sense of cannabis there by applying those chemicals. Now they can be in your neighborhood and they are smoking it. But because going on the media, our task force have contributed also. That's why when you look at the interdiction side, is on the increase, because we are advocating. the task force is advocating, and there is already another task force for interdiction. The police constitute a task force, the constitute a task force, immigration, and both they used to work together. There was a case in Farababata, if you could remember, it was on the media. It was intelligence-led operations, which the intelligence task force was there. They received information, share it with stakeholders. At that point, immigration was the relevant stakeholders because those people are foreigners. Upon arrival, they make their operations. It was a successful operation. Some quantities of Kush was arrested. Others were handed over to immigration, who believe that they have drug. They are handled by drug law enforcement. And when we were at immigration, the deputy director assured us that they will do everything possible to make sure that drug-related issue by foreigners is controlled. And that is the objective of our DG. Every day, every time about, where are you right now? What is the next step? Because you people are wholly responsible for this. Guide us what next. That's what we are doing. And thank God people are responding because now we are receiving information both sides. We cannot do it alone. I always say it. There is no security or no entity that can wholly handle drug. If that's the case, America will not be what they are doing today. America is in a big problem with us because fentanyl is disturbing America. With all the technology and financial muscles, fentanyl is their problem.
Do we have the drug in this country?
Yes, we have it here. But because it falls on the controlled drugs, there is a strict measures of controlled drugs in the Gambia. Strict measures in controlled drugs. Even you purchase it from this jurisdiction, move it to another jurisdiction without authority, it can be a problem for you. The authority is the prescription, and the prescription was authenticated by a medical registered practice professional in the Gambia. He must be registered. You cannot tell me that I bought this product in Senegal, I'm using it here. That guy was registered in Senegal, and we have to have his contact number on the prescription. If we have doubt, we communicate to him. That's it where we are as of now. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of task forces have been set in this country, be it on drugs or other areas. But at the end of the day, people wonder what might be the outcome of that task force. What will be so special about this task force? And are you going to prove the doubters wrong that this task force is going to be special and it will pay dividends?
Look at our approach is different from other task force. I don't know. Because before we start our activities, we are going to start our activity on the 15th of this month. We see for political support, we were at this parliament, and we told them what we did. What is our short-term strategy plan, mid-term strategy plan, and long-term strategy plan. We meet the immigration director through his deputy director. We explain. We meet the IGP, that of Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and we are going to meet the Minister of Health and Minister of Interior. And we are going to meet even the Chief of Staff, the security advisor. We're going to meet them before the 15th. By the time we are done with and do our analysis and write our report, we expect they will implement it because our approach differs.
Because it's a national issue that is concerning to everyone at this point. Mr. Jata, you being from the Ministry of Health, and this task force, I understand it contains a lot of components, which treatment is among it. What type of treatment is the Ministry of Health, through your unit, going to offer to people who may be victims of this substance?
Good. Okay. This so far does not have any cure. So what our clinicians do is they do supportive treatment. What supportive treatment means is you treat the symptoms, or you try to support the individual to recover from the symptoms and signs and symptoms that the individual presents with. If the tongue is swollen, you see how best you try to ensure that blood circulation is restored in the tongue, and then the tongue is returned to its normal size for individual to regain his consciousness. So that's what is being done at our health facilities. So this is why we ensure that also our health facilities know exactly what is expected of them, and that's why we always keep record of whoever comes suspected of consuming not only Kush, any particular drug that is sedative or so, we ensure that they keep those records, because that will help us in the analysis of our data. For the type side of treatment, there is no known treatment, no specific treatment. It's based on the symptoms, signs and symptoms that the individual presents with, and this is what they are supported with, and until they recover. Yes.
Is that not concerning that the health facilities are receiving these cases, and there is no specific treatment so far, because the substances included in these things are yet to be known? Is it that concerning?
Yeah, it's concerning, but we know we have a very professional health sector. They know what to do in terms of taking care of patients who you don't know you don't have a specific treatment or plan for that individual. They know what to do. They know how to take care of those kind of patients to see that they do not succumb to those conditions or events. They'll have to recover from it. And fortunately, what we have, apart from those 1 or 2 cases that came in, that were brought in dead, and fortunately for us, we have not registered any death at our health facilities due to this, because of the timely management of those cases. Once they report to their facilities, these healthcare workers, nurses and doctors do everything possible at their level, at their best, to ensure that they support these individuals to recover. And thank God we have seen up to 98% recovery of all these cases.
So how are these 2 deaths labeled? Are they on the suspected victims of?
Yeah, you cannot say they died of Kush, obviously.
But are they
you suspect you
suspected victims of Kush?
Yes, that's what you.
They are labeled like that.
Yes, you put suspected of consuming Kush and died as cause of death. But you cannot say died of Kush, because you are not sure
it's
whether
not confirmed yet.
It's not confirmed. And like Pa said, investigations are going on. We are trying to test, and but the only limitation we have as a country is some of these substances we cannot test in the country.
I was about to ask the question.
Yes, you can test to see certain parameters, but you won't be able to go further to analyze to say this is the particular chemical or so that, and this needs further analysis and needs highly sophisticated machines that are not available in the country, neither in Senegal. So we have to resort to see how best we work. This is why we are doing the resource mobilizations, we are doing the advocacy. Like I said, we are trying to meet all the stakeholders to ensure that we get what we want. Because when we go out to do this survey, we will want to collect samples. And when we collect samples, you need to analyze them. And when you're analyzing those samples, you should be able to get the reagents to be able to test those things and then come out with a conclusion. If we are not able to test those samples in country, maybe the resources should be available to be able to ship them to somewhere where they can be tested and give us results, real-time results in a very quick turnaround time. Yes.
You talk about hospitals receiving cases, but it has reduced during this Ramadan.
Yes.
Can you brief us, like, in terms of percentage? Is there any available percentage to say that these hospitals have received, let's say, 10% or 5% of these cases?
No, I think I would say it's about around 80 to 85% reduction of cases in the health facilities. Because looking at the data that we are collecting, because we collect our data on a weekly basis, and then we collect cumulative data, we've seen that we are seeing a downward trend. And this is what we are praying for, to see a downward trend continuing even after the Ramadan. But that's our hope, and that's what we want. But is that going to be the situation? Because we know after Ramadan we have a lot of activities, a lot of events, a lot of people are eager to come out to go and party and all those things. And it is at these times that people get high, and then those circumstances will force them to go into certain actions, to take certain things that do not conform with the morphology of their health bodies. So that's our hope. That's what we are focusing, and we are trying to prepare our system in case we have a surge in cases. We just want to see that we are able to respond and effectively take care of those cases once we have a surge.
Well, we are looking forward to that. Commissioner Bojang, we've seen that the Drug Law Enforcement Agency is doing a lot when it comes to arresting people. In the enforcement aspect of it, what are your steps towards combating Kush, and what are some of the constraints that the agency face when it comes to law enforcement? Because in many cases you see drug traffickers or drug dealers are arrested, taken to court. The next day they are out and about doing their businesses.
Yeah. Law enforcement officers, they only enforce the law. They don't implement the law. Our role to arrest, build our case file, put it before the court. The jury shall also have that power. They have to decide. And we are there not to challenge their decisions, because they don't challenge our decision when we are being arrested. When it's a possession case, it's bailable. If it's a possession case, it's bailable. And you should not detain him more than 72 hours. Or less than otherwise. If it's trafficking, at the high court level, the judge have the right to bail, but at magistrate, they don't bail. That's where issues come from. The task force, our role will be intelligence gathering. Whenever we are out for advocacy, because when you gather people, they also give you feedbacks. That feedback will be filtered to the operatives for them to respond to that. That will be our link of interdiction. That's why we say our last, not the least, is interdiction.
I mean, interesting. In this task force,
Yes.
of course, you need information.
Yeah.
And you want people to come around, come out and give you the information that will help you to address this issue that is of national concern. Is there any source protection in this task force? Because it's very important. Somebody might not want to go out and give you information. The next minute they are targeted in the community, because people who use drugs sometimes can be very dangerous. If they knew that Mr. Jata is the one who reported me to these people and we live in the same community.
Anywhere we go on this advocacy, I always leave my number or his number. I'm the chairman, he's the secretary. But as far as interdiction, I think within this short period, we share almost 2 to 3 cases. With their calls, I'll tell you that I don't want to know your name.
Good.
Simple, I don't want to know your name. You are not helping me, you are helping yourself and me and the country. I am here because of you, because taxpayers' money, that takes care of me. That fuel my car. We have an incident in the country. It's no more NDA's problem. It's more than NDA. It's national problem. Share information, we will act. But what's the problem with us is, when somebody is arrested, after a few days they see him outside, they start to make noise. We abide by the law. The law says any suspect should, within 72 hours, put before the court or bail. If it's possession, trafficking is the capital offense. And to reach that threshold to say that it's traffic, there must be a waiver certificate that prove it. Like cannabis, less than 2 kilos is traffic, is possession. Kush, less than 2 kilos is possession. Or less than until it's 2 kilos above.
Then it's qualified as
Trafficking. Trafficking. And the activities within that position, if need arise, you can put all of dealing based on how he was arrested and how the investigation was done. That may lead them for the dogs to press other charges attached to it. But if he is found with possession, he is taken on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday you see him out. They arrested him Friday, I saw him outside. That's the law.
Maybe this is because the police or the law enforcement officers are not communicating to people.
That's why today I'm here, I'm telling people, it's the law. This law is made at the parliament. They'll say, work like this. They give us a tool. This is how you should do your job. We work according to the tools. That's what the Constitution says. You cannot detain somebody because he's innocent until unless he proves beyond a reasonable doubt. And they say position should be bail. We can do it. But thank God, information are coming, people are sharing intelligence, and that is leading us to all this, all arrested. And you can see that Kush, Gambia's response is one of the best response so far in West Africa. So far, one of the best response. Thanks to the authorities, thanks to the task force. because we are monitoring from interdiction to medical care. And accumulatively, we are seeing that things are going down. Where there is the floods are fear of the Ramadan, that's why they are involved, because most of the arrest cases are floods. Maybe because of Ramadan, they don't want to be involved with those things, but thank God things are going down.
Ramadan is a blessed month. Everyone is careful about messing up during Ramadan. Mr. Jata, and your role in this is very crucial as far as health is concerned. We've seen the rate of mental issues is becoming rampant in this country. And as an agency which is under the Ministry of Health, what will be your advice to the public as far as these substances are concerned? Because not only about Kush, or we see a lot of people will go about consuming drugs, some in the name of getting weight or losing weight and stuff like that, without following due process.
Good. Thank you very much once again. I think mental health is also a very serious public health problem in this country. We have seen a lot of people with mental health issues in the streets and even in our homes. This is why part of the task force we have the program for mental health and substance abuse. The program manager for mental health and substance abuse is part of this task force. Like Pa was mentioning the membership of the task force. From the Ministry of Health is not only EDC. We have the mental health unit, because we have a mental health unit that is responsible of these mental health issues, both in the community and at the health facilities. Then we have the non-communicable disease unit that is looking at tobacco control, looking at other non-communicable diseases like hypertension and diabetes, but tobacco control in particular, because we have a tobacco control policy that looks at smoking either in public or in other places. So that's why the non-communicable disease unit is part of this. Then we have the health education and promotion unit that is mandated by the ministry or by government to serve as the mouthpiece of Ministry of Health, to talk to the people, to enlighten them. They go to the communities to sensitize people. So this is why we have all this composition. And mental health is something that we are not taking lightly. Not too long ago, the mental health unit had a day-long engagement with the National Assembly members at Senegambia to ensure that the issue of mental health is addressed, not only at technical level, but also at that level, to give it that political backing. So it's a cause of concern, and then the program is doing all it can to, or doing all its best to ensure that this issue is handled at its best.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Yeah. Mr. Bojang, Commissioner Bojang rather, we've seen Sierra Leonean President Julius Malabio has declared Kush as a national emergency, and immediate actions are taken to ensure that this drug is eliminated in Sierra Leone. We've seen in Liberia and in Guinea as well. Efforts are underway. Like you say, Gambia's approach is considered the best at the moment. But will you recommend to the authorities, because you as a law enforcement agency, you have a mandate and there are limits. Will you recommend for this thing to be considered a national emergency while you also embark on your tax, because it's important that people know about this and take actions at individual levels as well?
You know, to declare state of emergency is very expensive. There are so many implications. To declare state of emergency, that you need what they call health advice. You need security analysis. We didn't reach to that threshold as of now. We are different with Sierra Leone. In the next 2-3 months, there is OIC. You declare state of emergency. The negative impact will come. And looking at all the circumstances with this case in the Gambia, may God forbid, but we didn't register even 10 deaths. Sierra Leone registered so many deaths. There was a week they registered 30 deaths. Liberia declared state of emergency, but have to lift it, because it's, I don't know whether according to me, that I saw the declaration paper, but it's very expensive. It could have negative and positive side of it. When you look at our approach as far as security is concerned, NDA doesn't work in isolation. Police can't work in isolation. And that means when you even declare state of emergency, you have to combine them and form a stronger task force to fight it. And only that is existed. Why should we declare state of emergency now?
Interesting.
All what we did, financial support, logistics, to move on with our strategies. Because drug, even now at NCD, INCD, all they see this as a medical issue. Drug users are patients. Drug users are patients. They need help, medical attention, than to castrate them in prison. Because when you send them to prison, they find these co-criminals who are going to teach them more about criminality than to castrate them. Our role here to cut this supply chain first and support those who are affected.
Yes.
And distance the criminals away.
And many people have accused
Yes.
foreign nationals of smuggling this substance in this country.
Yeah, going by our statistics, international statistics, is the Freetonians. And even high arrests, trafficking we arrested are all Freetonians. But all what I will say is, they are never in isolation. When they come, they either stay in Fulakunda, Jolakunda, Marikakunda, or Surakunda. We the government who rent them their houses, rooms, or compounds should be a police of ourselves. Drug is not for individual. Drug is the catalyst of all crime now in the world, even, and is the contribution factor to all NCDs also. Because when they are using drug, they are cigarette. When they are using cigarette smoker, he end up using these things. Now you can see all NCD cases, drug have a contributing factor. All crime, drug have a contributing factor. If you know those things, that means it's not the league's problem, it's not police problem, but it's a national problem. Let's share information. Let's report on those circumstances. Where you have situation that you cannot understand, report it to the nearest police station.
So I know it's interesting.